My fellow Americans, welcome to the Pigskin Pete YouTube channel. This is not a channel about politics. This is a sports channel, and more particular than that, this is a college football YouTube channel. I never talk about politics on here. Number one, because it's a complete waste of time on a channel like mine. Number two is because I know for 100% certainty that I would manage to piss off every single viewer and every single subscriber that's ever clicked on one of my videos. And that's not because I'm right-wing. It's not because I'm left-wing. It's not because I'm independent. It's because I think that the politics in this country, they're all a bunch of lying, crook hacks who lie to us on a daily basis and are only out for themselves. But every once in a while, the world that we love, college sports, the world that I love, college sports, merges with the seedy underbelly, incompetent world of American politics. And we saw this happen yesterday when they had representatives from each of the Power 5 conferences in the NCAA go before Congress and get grilled by the incompetent members of Congress about pay for play, making money off of name, image, and likeness. So it was maybe 3 or 4 or 5 months ago, something like that, that California passed a bill that made it legal in the state of California for college players to monetize their name, image, and likeness. And yesterday, Congress grilled the NCAA about being unfair to players. Okay. So what we're going to do today, we're going to listen to a brief news report on this, and then I'll give you my thoughts on it. Bear with me for a second.
The concern is that all 50 states can end up having different rules about paying college athletes if Congress doesn't act. That's leading to worries about schools having unfair advantages and students having to choose between making money and their education.
First of all, choose between making money and your education. Keep that in mind.
From football to basketball, college sports are a $14 billion a year industry. Now 2 questions sit before Congress. Should players get paid to play, and should they be allowed to make money off their fame? That can include signing endorsement deals and monetizing Instagram followers like professional players.
College athletes shouldn't be forced to sacrifice their economic freedom and rights.
California has already passed a law that goes into effect in 2023. It allows student athletes to profit from their name, image, and likeness, known as their NIL. More than 20 other states are also considering their own legislation. Former college athletes painted a picture of what that patchwork of laws can mean for college sports.
It looks like a 17-year-old high school student athlete choosing between 2 institutions, not because of the educational value, but rather because of which state has the fewest restrictions on the financial benefit.
Now, this is a problem. Some people would say it's a problem in itself to allow this to happen in college sports. Allow players to monetize their name, because once you open up the doors for an opportunity for people to cheat the system, and listen, they're already cheating the system. We already know there's plenty of cases throughout history, whether in every sport, especially basketball is the main one, but certainly in football and I'm sure in baseball and some of the other sports, where people are breaking the rules, buying players, and that sort of thing. There's been people indicted on this. There's been FBI wiretaps. We all know the history. But when you open the door for somebody to say, be compensated from a private business, let's say, for instance, just a car dealership. So a car dealership in a local town in whatever state you want to say. Let's say in California. It could be any state. I'm going to say California. Let's say that a team like Southern California, USC, that's struggling and losing a lot of their players out of their state to teams in the Southeast in particular and the state of Arizona, says, listen, if you come to Southern California instead of going to the Southeast or to Texas or to Arizona, we'll give you $1 million. I mean, a big car dealership chain, $1 million in advertising is pretty much nothing to a business like that. All you got to do is come to our dealership once a month, twice a month, whatever it is, sign some autographs, do some radio broadcast from here, and maybe wear our car dealership shirts or whatever the case may be. We're going to give you $1 million. So that is a huge benefit to that university or whoever that business is that's paying him. Also, there could be a collusion between the university and the private business. The private business could say, hey, you don't have $1 million to spend. We'll give you the $1 million under the table. Nobody has to know. And you pretend like you're the one paying it, but we're really the one paying it. This is the problem with it. But let's go ahead and continue.
Is testifying to lawmakers on Capitol Hill about a need to make a national change. Groups like the NCAA pushed for cautious oversight.
Without proper guardrails and structure, some NIL proposals threaten to undermine the core values of college sports by allowing payments for NIL to serve as pay for play and potentially turning college athletes into employees.
And 98% of college athletes do not go on to play sports professionally.
All right, so that's basically that part of it. But here's the bottom line. So I don't know if anybody happened to see the boring thing that is C-SPAN with all the other stuff that's going on in politics right now with the primary, New Hampshire, and all that. People probably didn't pay much attention to the Congress grilling the NCAA. But what the Congress members were doing, were treating the NCAA and accusing them of things that they are guilty of. They were saying it's not fair that you have lobbyists, in this case, between the ACC, the Big Ten, all the Power 5 conferences, SEC, Big Ten, Pac-12, Big Ten, Big 12, all of them, there was over $1 million spent on lobby to not get this to pass in people's individual states. This has to be a national consensus. We live in a country where each state can make their own laws, and that's a great thing. That's what makes us the United States. It's one of the best things about this country. But it also makes it extremely confusing because if you have one state like California that allows this to happen and another state that doesn't, that gives that state an advantage. So there has to be some sort of national consensus, or at least an NCAA consensus on this matter. The other thing that the Congress said to the NCAA in this, what I'm going to call an interrogation, is what it seemed like more than anything, was accusing the NCAA of not being fair and taking too long to get things done. The United States Congress flexing their muscle to the NCAA representatives at that meeting and telling them that they don't have the best interest of their constituents, which would be their players and students, at heart, and taking too long to get things done. Has the Congress looked in the mirror lately? This is exactly the problem with the Congress and the Senate. They don't get anything done, and they have their own interest at heart, and they're sitting here grilling the NCAA on the same thing. Now, listen, I don't think there's a simple problem to this, and much like the college football playoff expansion is inevitable at some point, whether it happens in 2 years from now or 10 years from now, we're going to see an expansion in the playoffs, whether people think it should happen or not. There's going to be a time when players are either paid directly by universities or off of their name, image, and likeness. It's going to happen starting in 2023 probably. And will this ruin the sport? I don't know. I sure as hell hope not. I sure hope not. I think it just makes it easier for teams that do cheat to cheat. It becomes almost legal cheating. That's my personal opinion. I know a lot of people disagree with that. But there are other alternatives out there now. It used to be, because of the way the NFL draft rules work, the NFL has been sort of in cahoots with the NCAA. It's not like basketball where you can go and enter the NBA draft out of high school. It's always been you have to be 3 years removed from high school before you can enter the draft. So playing college football has been really the only avenue to legitimate draft stock if you're an elite player, or any player for that matter. At this point, there are other options. If the XFL succeeds, which it looks like the XFL, unlike the AAF last year, and unlike the XFL of 10 years ago or whatever it was, is going to be profitable. If you're a high school athlete and you feel as if you're being exploited by the NCAA and having to go play for a college team and follow their rules and go to class and be a decent human being for 3 years before you can go make your millions of dollars, now you have the choice. This is something that didn't exist before. Now you have the choice to go to the XFL and make $75,000, $100,000, $150,000 a year for 3 years and then enter the draft. There is no rule that says that you have to go to college for 3 years to enter the draft. You just have to be removed from high school for 3 years to enter the draft. So now there's another choice if the XFL makes it. So I don't want to hear about fairness. It's not fair, it's not fair, it's not fair. You don't have to go to college if you don't want to. You can go and be a pro in the XFL right now. Will you develop better in the XFL as you would at a college football program? I don't think so. But at least you have the choice. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I just thought it was funny that the Congress... Okay. Was sitting there grilling the NCAA about being incompetent and taking too long to get things done. Leave your comments below. I can't wait to see the comments on this. Let me know how you think about it. Pigskin Pete checking out.